Hello everyone, this is part 28 of What If Naruto Came Back to Claim His Family's Name, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. So Emi, how long does it take to get to the sand village? Asked Kushina as they walked down the road. About 3 days, said Emi. It would be a better trip if some Namikaze shut her mouth for longer than 2 seconds, said Chu Akamaki. Chu, respect your fellow leaf ninja, ordered Rick Uzumaki. Fine, said Chu as he crossed his arms and kept walking. Back in the Leaf Village, Naruto, Sakura, Sasuke and Ino sat in their backyard watching Saya Namikaze and Rei Uchiha play in the sandbox. The Namikaze boys were off causing trouble somewhere in the village with the Ritsu and Shun Uchiha at their side. I hope our kids do well, said Ino as she drank some more tea. I hope so too, but either way I get to go watch the finals, said Naruto. Dupe, you're the Hokage, you will go as long as there is even one of our ninjas in the finals, said Sasuke. Naruto-kun, do you have any idea what the Sand Chunin exams are like? Asked Sakura. Only that they are known to be very hard, a lot harder than ours, said Naruto. I just hope they are able to come out of it okay. I think they will be fine, said Sasuke. Land of Wind. Seagulls flew overhead as a small metal boat floated into a coastal town on the shores of Wind Country. On the front deck stood 4 ninjas looking out as they got closer to the shore. Wow, I never thought it would be so hot, said Aika as she pulled her hood down. It is the desert, you idiot. Of course it is going to be hot, yelled Reiji. Did you two cancel out your body warming jutsu? Asked Bunker with a smirk on his face as the 2 others had a dumb look on their face. I didn't think so. Good call, Bunker, said their sensei as the 2 other genin released their Eustace that kept them warm in their cold home. Now remember, this isn't a normal Chunin exam. This is also a mission of information gathering, so keep your eyes and ears opened. Yes, Haruka-sensei, said all 3 genin. Also let's show them that they are no match for us, said Haruka as the boat came alongside the dock. We should get to the sand village by nightfall tomorrow, now move out. Kushina and the rest of the Leaf Ninjas walked all day, rested at a small town. They walked the rest of the next day and soon the towering walls of the sand village appeared through the blowing sand. As they neared the gate, 2 Anbu appeared. Well, I am happy to see that you all made it here, said the Anbu. We are happy to see you too, Uncle Kankuro, said Emi as the Anbu removed his mask to show the painted face of Kankuro. Can't get anything past you, can I, niece? Said Kankuro with a grin before he looked at the rest. Your hotels are ready for you and Gaara wants to see all your senseis in his office. Great, I just want to sleep, yawned Liz. Well, you will need it, the exams start at 7 tomorrow, said Kankuro. We have to get up at 7? Asked Anko Hataki. No, we have our first text at 7 at night, said Kankuro, so you have a day to rest and prepare yourselves. The sun started to set as 4 ninja walked through the gates of the sand village. State your names and the reason you are here, ordered a Junin. I am Haruka of the village hidden in the ice, and I am bringing my 3 students to take the Chunin exams. Very well then, we will inform the Kazekage that you are here, said Junin as a Chunin appeared. He will take you to the hotel. Thank you, said Haruka. Remember that the Chunin exams start at 7 p.m. tomorrow and there is a meeting for Junin instructors at noon tomorrow at the Kazekage's office, said the Junin. I will be there. Thank you, said Haruka as the 4 ninjas entered the gates. Kushina laid her head down on her pillow but still couldn't fall asleep. She could hear Liz and my slow breathing. Slowly Kushina got out of her bed and walked out the door to stand on the small balcony. She looked out over the clear star-filled sky, the full moon light up the sand making them sparkle a little. Beautiful. Yes it is, said a voice coming from the side. She looked to the side to see the balcony of the room next to hers. There, standing in a thin black shirt and black shorts, was her crush Fugaku Uchiha. Wow, he looks so hot, thought Kushina as she tried to fight down the blush that was building up on her face. Yeah, he looks very nice in those sleeping cloths of his, thought inner Kushina. Wait, I am in my sleeping cloths only as well. Kushina thought as her blush final one as she looked down to see that she only a tank top that showed her belly and very, very short shorts. What are you doing out here, Fugaku? Asked Kushina as she looked into Fugaku's eyes, however like the sand they too seemed to sparkle in the moonlight. The same reason you are out here, Kushina, said Fugaku with a grin. What is that? Asked Kushina. Both of us are too excited for the coming challenge to sleep, said Fugaku with a grin. Or it is the fact that we are sleeping in a strange bed and in a strange place, said Kushina. Maybe, but I like it to think it is the latter, said Fugaku as he turned to leave. Night, Fugaku, said Kushina as Fugaku stopped in the doorway before speaking up. Night, Kushina-chan, said Fugaku as he walked into the dark, leaving a stunned Kushina standing there in the moonlight. The next morning the Leaf Junin and the other Junin stood in the Kazekige's office. All the Junin stood at attention as Gaara entered the room. I welcome you all to Sunagakure and to the Chunin exams. Your students' teams have been sent here to take the exams to see if they are ready to become Chunin. We have sand, leaves, grass, rain and ice ninjas all gathered together. Now I know that there has been wars between most of us at one time or another, but this isn't the time or place to take actions. Also, I want you all to be warned, we take rules very serious around here. So don't try anything. Now I wish your teams the best of luck, and the Chunin exams start at the North Gate at 7 tonight. Be there are your students fail before they even begin. Now go. At 6:58 all the genin were gathered together at the western gate of the Sand Village. Suddenly Kankuro appeared in front of them. Now listen up all you maggots, I am Kankuro Hedanbu of the Sand Village and the brother of the Kazekage. Now this is the first challenge of your Chunin exams. It is also the hardest stage one of any other village, said Kankuro with a grin. Now everyone please follow me. Meanwhile back at the Leaf Village the rest of the Namikaze clan had just finished a late supper. Hey Dad, we have a question, said Minuto. What is it? Asked Naruto. Kushina is in the Chunin exams in the sand and Iruka sensei said they are the hardest exams of the other villages, said Altair. Yes, it is, said Naruto, remembering the file he found in the archives about the exams. Well, we were wondering what makes it so hard, said Minuto. It is the simple fact that 3/4 of those who take it don't make it past the first text, said Naruto. What's the first text? Asked Altair as he waited for the answer. I welcome you all to the sandpit training area, said Kankuro as he held his hand out over a huge winding valley. In the distance was a tall tower with a glowing red light on it. See that tower there? You have 5 days to reach the tower. That doesn't seem that hard, said a grass genin. You might think that, however, down there you can't see the tower until you are almost on top of it, said Kankuro. Then how are we supposed to find it? Asked Chu Akamiki. By using the sound, said Kankuro as suddenly a sound that sounded like a trumpet came from the tower. Listen well because you must follow that sound. For a second nothing happened, then suddenly hundreds of sound that sounded almost the same as the original trumpet. What is that sound? Asked Kushina. This valley is filled with a type of sound bird that mimics the trumpet at the top of tower, said Kankuro. You must find the right sound from all the fakes and then follow it to the tower. However, that isn't the only challenge. There are animals and sudden sandstorms. Also, each team will receive a scroll. There is a wind and sand scroll. You must have both to enter the tower and do not dare open the scrolls until you reach the tower. Now your sensei will take you to your assigned entree points. This is going to be easy, said Liz as both Kushina and Fugaku looked at her. Well Kushina, you and Mai have super hearing, you can easily pick out the real one. Actual, it is hard, very hard. Those are so close together that I am second guessing myself, said Kushina as Liz looked stunned. Then how are supposed to find our way? Asked Liz. You don't, weakling, said a boy as he and another boy and girl walked by. However, he stopped for a second and looked at Mai. And who are you? Yelled Liz. I am Reiji of the Ice and you will get nothing more out of me, said Reiji with such a cold voice that Neji raised an eyebrow as the boy walked away. He sounds just like Sasuke did back when he was bent on King Itachi and didn't care who got hurt. Neji thought, he could be trouble. The 4-leaf ninjas stood in front of a gate that went to a small path toward the valley floor. Now listen to me, said Neji as Kushina, Mai, Liz and Fugaku looked at him. This isn't going to be a cakewalk, so always be ready and protect each other and you will be fine. With that Neji held out a wind scroll which Kushina grabbed. I have an idea, said Kushina as she pulled out another scroll. She sealed the scroll inside the other scroll. Good idea, Kushina, said Liz with a smile. They wouldn't think of looking for the scroll inside the scroll. When she had said that, gate opened up. Now go, see you at the tower in 5 days, said Neji as he watched them go down toward the valley floor. When Kushina, Liz and Fugaku hit the valley floor, the sound the trumpeted sounded again, causing them to look toward the many paths in front of him. What do you hear, Kushina? Asked Fugaku as Kushina tried to find the right sound among all the fake bird calls. Crap, this is impossible, thought Kushina. We can do it, said Inner Kushina. Second from the right, said Kushina as she pointed toward the narrow path. Are you sure? Asked Liz. No, but it's the best I got, said Kushina. Do you agree, Mai? That's what I got, said Mai as they started walking down the path. The sun had started to rise over the sand village and already Gaara sat in his office doing paperwork. Seems that all I do is paperwork and go to meetings, thought Gaara as his brother entered the room. So what is the condition of the exams? Gaara, you aren't going to believe this, but one team is already done, said Kankuro as Gaara looked up from his paperwork. The exam started only 12 hours ago and someone is already done, asked Gaara. The team from Ice finished in 6 hours 23 minutes, breaking the record father placed by over 3 hours, said Kankuro. I see, this village is causing me to worry. First they file under unnamed, then there is the fact that we have no idea where they are from. Lastly it is this, they have a genin team that can beat a course faster than most of our Junin. Get me our fastest messenger Hawk. It is time to inform Naruto of what is happening. Yes, brother, said Kankuro. For 3 days they came across no sign of anyone or anything. As they set up camp, the ground started to shake and all the birds headed up into the sky. What's going on? Asked Liz as Fugaku turned on his black Sharingan. I don't know, I don't see anything, said Fugaku. Well, something had to scare those birds, said Liz as she turned on her Sharingan. Suddenly the ground broke a few yards away from them, sending them flying back. What was that? Coughed Kushina as dust filled the air. I have no idea, said Liz as the dust started to settle and a giant form slowly appeared in the dust. But it's not good. Crap, said Fugaku as he pulled his sword out as the sound of snapping filled the air. All the genin eyes widened as 6 horse-sized scorpions appeared out of the dust. They were red with black tops, their pinchers snapped at the air. All 3 of them formed a defenses ring but putting their backs against each other. So how do you want to take these bugs down? Asked Kushina as Fugaku's eyes narrowed. These bugs aren't normal, said Fugaku. What do you mean? Asked Liz. Look at the far side wall by the small bush, said Fugaku as Liz focused her eyes and saw 3 slight distortions in the rock. Genjutsu. Yes, we have 3 ninjas from the sand village, said Fugaku. You can see through the genjutsu, whispered Kushina, a little stunned at that fact. The Sharingan can see through genjutsu, said Fugaku with a grin. This is going to be easy, said the sand ninja. I feel kind of bad, they are our allied village, said another of sand genin. That is why I am using my non-sly summoning so that they may have a chance after we have finished with them, said the last of the sand genin. Well, looks like they are going to put up a fight, said the first sand genin. They will lose. So what do you want to do? Asked Liz. How about attack plan 5, said Fugaku. Works for me. The simplest plans are sometimes the best, said Kushina as with a grin as she formed hers and her father's favorite move. Shadow Clone Jutsu. With that at least 3 dozen Kushinas filled the area. Well, looks like we may have a stronger bunch of genin than even I thought, said the sand genin as they watched the girl fight against the scorpions. I think I've seen her before, said the second sand genin as he placed his hand on his chin. Probably saw her in the market while you were with your parents on vacation in the leaf, offered the third. That's it, I saw her, but it wasn't the market, it was in the Hokage's office when my dad dropped off a scroll, said the sand ninja. Why would she be in the Hokage's office? Asked the first genin. Because he is my dad, said a voice from behind them. The 3 of them felt bladed weapons on their NS. How, you're right down there? Asked the stunned sand genin as he pointed toward Liz and Fugaku standing on the ground below fighting the scorpions. Suddenly the two Uchihas turned into Kushina clones. They're clones that transformed to look like them, said another of the stunned Sand Genin. Now send your scorpions back and give us your scroll and you may live, said Fugaku as the scorpions disappeared in puffs of smoke. Fine, you win, said another of the Sand Genin as he pulled out a sand scroll, which Kushina took. Thank you, said Fugaku as he hit one of the Sand Genin, knocking him out. Kushina and Liz did the same. They should be safe here until the end of the exams, said Kushina as she pulled 3 seals out of her ninja pouch. Good thing Dad gave me these, they should keep them out for 2 days. Good, the exam will be over by then, that is one less team to worry about, Fugaku said as he turned to look at Kushina and Mai. Now all we need is you two to get us to the tower. Don't worry, we will get you there, said Kushina as another round of trumpet sounds filled the air. That way. Very good, Kushina, whispered Neji as he stood on top of the high valley walls watching his students head toward the tower. So how are they doing, Neji? A voice asked from behind him. He spun around to see Naruto standing there in his normal black cloak with orange flames around the bottom. Lord Hokage, what are you doing here? Asked Neji. Gaara wanted to see me about the village hidden in the ice, said Naruto as he walked up and stood next to Neji. Why is a small village so important? Asked Neji. Simply put, we have no idea what this village is up to. Hell, we have no idea where this village is even located, and the fact that their Genin team beat this course in just over 6 hours. That is why we are worried, said Naruto. Also, I wanted to see my daughter. I understand, sir. Is anyone else with you? Asked Neji. Temari and Ino, said Naruto. Sorry, but your wife couldn't make it. That is okay, said Neji. In a few hours your daughter should be at the tower. Good, then she and the rest of our teams can all go to stage 2 together, said Naruto as Neji looked at him, a stunned expression on his face. They all made it already. Before I came here, Gaara informed me that all our other teams already made it, said Naruto. Sir, I have a question to ask you, said Neji. All right, we are here, said Kushina as she and her team walked through huge oak doors into a tall hall. Great, maybe I can get a real shower soon, said Liz. I think we have to open the scrolls now, said Fugaku as his sister and Kushina looked at him. How do you know that? Asked Liz. Unlike you, I listened to father's stories about his Genin exams. He and his team had 2 scrolls that they had to open before moving on, said Fugaku as Kushina and Liz nodded as Kushina pulled out both scrolls. Suddenly smoke filled the room and a new figure appeared out of the smoke. Dad? Asked Kushina as she looked at her father's grinning face. Yes, said Naruto. Shouldn't you be back at the village, Uncle Naruto? Said Liz. I had a meeting with Gaara and decided to congratulate you all on passing the first part of the exams. I am so proud of you 3, said Naruto as he hugged his daughter. So am I, said a voice from the side. There in the corner stood Ino Uchiha. Mom! Yelled Liz as she ran to her mother and hugged her. Fugaku slowly walked up to his mother. He just stood there as Ino hugged him as well. So Mom, is Dad or Aunt Sakura with you? Sorry, but no, Temari is with us instead, answered Ino. Naruto, Ino, they are waiting for them upstairs for the second exam, said Kankuro. Fine, now good luck, and no matter what happens out there, your mother and I will always be proud of you, said Naruto as he kissed his daughter's forehead. Thanks, Dad, said Kushina. Same goes for you too. Just do your best and remember that not even your father passed his first time, said Ino as she looked at her son when she said that. Don't worry, Mom, said Liz. Kushina and I will keep him in line. With that, the 3 Genin and the demon fox headed up the stairs, leaving Naruto and Ino alone. Personally, I think Kushina has better luck keeping Fugaku in line than Liz, said Naruto as Ino shrugged her shoulders. Well, what can I say, it takes a forceful love to boss around an Uchiha boy, said Ino as Naruto raised an eyebrow. I don't follow, said Naruto. Forehead is right, you can be a real barker sometimes, said Ino as she rolled her eyes. You mean you never noticed the way Kushina looks at Fugaku? Not really, said Naruto. Okay, let me spell it out to you. Your daughter likes my son. Kushina looks at Fugaku just like Sakura used to look at Sasuke, said Ino as Naruto looked at the floor. I know, I have seen it in Kushina's eyes, said Naruto. Then why did I have to spell it out to you? Asked Ino. Truth is I am just having a hard time accepting the fact that my little girl is growing up, responded Naruto as Ino nodded her head. I am having a hard time believing it myself sometimes, but we can't stop it, so we might as well enjoy watching them grow, said Ino. Then she grinned like an Uchiha. Besides, Kushina Uchiha has a nice ring to it, don't you think? Way too early to start talking about that, said Naruto as Ino grinned even more. That still doesn't answer my question. If she wants that name when she is older, I will be happy to give her to your son, but not till she is older, said Naruto. However, first they have to get past the second test. Kushina, listen. Fugaku walked into a large hall with a large table in the middle. Around the table sat all 4 teams from the Leaf, a team from the Ice, a team of Grass Genin, and 6 Sand Genin teams. There was a total of 36 Genin gathered around the table. Kushina and her team took their seats just across from Imi Nara, Anko Hatake, and Kib Inuzuka with his black pup Akam's head poking out of his jacket. Glad to see that you made it, said Imi. Yeah, because I want the one to defeat you, Fugaku, not some sandstorm, said Kib. Like you could beat me, said Fugaku. Shut up, you fools, said the Ice Genin Reiji as Gaara, dressed in full Kazekage robes, came and sat at the head of the table. Well, I am pleased to see that so many of you have made it this far, said Gaara. Now eat and gain your strength back. With that, dozens of people appeared and put food in front of all Genin. They all watched as Gaara started eating. After a while, small chat started up between the teams from the same village. Gaara, how is Matsuri doing? Asked Imi as everyone stopped what they were doing and looked at the young Genin. How dare you speak to the Kazekage, he is far above some weak leaf Genin, said Reiji as Imi rolled her eyes. So, Uncle Gaara, how is Auntie Matsuri doing? Asked Imi as Reiji's eyes widened as he looked between the leaf Genin and the Kazekage. She is doing well, but how are my sister and her husband doing? Asked Gaara. Mom is still trying to get him to quit smoking, but you know, said Imi as she shrugged her shoulders. She has been trying to do that since they got married 14 years ago, said Gaara before he glared at the Reiji. As for you, you failed to notice something that would have cost you your life on the battlefield. Now tell me what the weapon is that my niece carries. Reiji looked at the Nara girl. A fan. Very good, the fan and the puppets are the tradition weapons of the Sand Village. The fact that she has one leads the mind to reason that she has ties to the Sand Village. Also, the fact that she knows mine and my wife's real name leads logical that I may know her as well. You should have stayed quiet and watched, said Gaara. Now I believe since this talk relates to the second exam, it is time to start. One of teams gathered is a fake. You will have 10 minutes to find the fake one and write it down. The teams with the right fake team written down will move on, and just to make it interesting, we have placed a seal under each of your chairs, stopping all use of chakra. You must use your normal eyes to see the truth. To make sure that no one eavesdrops on the other teams, each squad has a silencing seal around them. Your time starts now. All the Genin started to look at each other trying to find the fake. Do you smell anything? Asked Kushina. Sorry, but no, the smell of the food and the seals is weakling my nose. I can't smell anything out of the normal, said Mai. It isn't your fault I can't smell anything either, said Kushina. What do you have, Fugaku? Liss. With my chakra block, neither me nor my sister can use our Sharingan to see through any genjutsu, said Fugaku. However, I think I am on something. What? Asked Liss. Look in the middle, the 2 blonde hair girls and the blonde hair boy, said Fugaku. So, said Kushina. Well, look at them, said Fugaku. They look normal except that one of the girls has a fan on her back, but their headbands say Grass Village, said Kushina. I see it now, and look, the boy has fishnet clothing under this jacket, said Liss. That is normally only worn by leaf ninjas. It has to be the fake team, said Kushina. Now I am not so sure, said Fugaku. The sand team at the end of the table may have the right weapon, but their clothing is from the leaf village. Well, we have to pick, time is running out, said Liss. I say we go with our first choose. I agree, said Kushina. Fugaku. Fine, said Fugaku as he wrote down the number that stood in front of the 3 Grass Genin. Time is up, said Gaara as Sand Junin took the pieces of papers from each of the teams. There was a short pause as Gaara looked at the papers. Well, more have passed than what normally happens. I told you one of our teams should have taken the roles as the fake Genin teams. Well, what can I say, I wanted some fun, said the blonde hair boy. Fine, teams 9, 10, 11 and 12 from the Leaf Village moves on, team 1 from the Ice moves on and finally teams 17, 18 and 20 from the Sand moves on, said Gaara. Good job Kushina, said the blonde hair boy before he changed in a puff of smoke. Dad, said Kushina as she looked at the other two blondes only to see Ino and Temari sitting there. Allow me to introduce Naruto Namikaze, the 6th Hokage of Konoha, said Gaara as Kyuubi appeared in a ball of flames next to Naruto, and his summon Kyuubi the 9-tailed demon fox. With that the other teams left, leaving the 24 genin sitting there. Now we move on to the final test, said Gaara. With that the wall behind him moved to show a large open room with catwalks on 3 sides and a large screen. Kankuro stood in the middle of the arena and their senseis stood on the 2 side catwalks. In the far catwalk were 2 seats. Your teams are no more. You will each be competing for one of 12 spots in the Genin tournament that happens 1 month from today. The names will be picked at random. The fight will end one of 3 ways: when you give up, when you are unable to go on, or your S. So if you want out, now is the time. Kushina looked around but saw no one raise their hands. Very well Kankuro, who will be in our first match? Let's find out, said Kankuro as names started to appear on the screen. Suddenly the names stopped. Reiji of the Ice Village vs Haruaki Hyuga Leaf Village. Kushina looked at the red-haired boy from the Ice Smile as he and the Haruaki Hyuga stood up and walked to stand on either side of Kankuro. Good, now everyone head toward your sensei and await your turn. Kushina watched as her father and Gaara took the 2 seats near the center as Ino went and stood next to Neji, and Temari stood with her daughter's sensei Minuto Morino. As soon as all the genin were up on the catwalks, Kankuro spoke up again. Alright, I want a good fight, and remember I can call it at any time. Do you understand? Asked Kankuro. Yes, sir, said Haruaki as Reiji nodded. Alright then, you may begin, said Kankuro. The moment it happened, Haruaki jumped back and pulled out a scroll which with a puff of smoke became a long spear which he placed on his shoulder blades. Well, I might as well get rid of this stupid traveling cloak, said Reiji as he pulled off his white travel cloak to show that he was dressed in all black with a headband around his right arm. As soon as the cloak was gone, he reached behind his back and pulled out a sword. However, suddenly the sword split down the center to where he now had 2 single-edged swords. I see you use dual swords, said Haruaki. I give you 5 minutes, then you are at my mercy, said Reiji. And I give you 4 before you're at mine, said Haruaki as he stepped forward, jabbing and cutting with his spear. Reiji ducked and weaved through Haruaki's attacks, then he slipped under a spear jab and brought his twin swords crashing on both sides of the spear, cutting the tip off. Ah, did I break your toy? Said Reiji with a grin as Haruaki tossed his now broken spear away and pulled out 2 scrolls. Don't worry, I bring a lot of toys, said Haruaki, because now I get to show off. Like my mother, I never miss. With that he took a scroll in each hand. Allow me to show you. With that the 2 scrolls open up as Haruaki started to spin them around. Reiji raised an eyebrow before suddenly dozens of different types of weapons went flying at him. Reiji started to run using his swords to knock down the flying weapons. However, they just kept coming. Suddenly Reiji sent one of his swords flying. The sword swung around as it whipped through the air faster than the human eye could see toward Haruaki. Neji's eyes widened in a mix of horror and dread as his son's hand stopped moving and he fell to his knees before hitting the ground with a thud. Son! Yelled Neji as he jumped down and ran to his son. Ino was right behind him. Neji, step back and let me look at him, I was trained by Tsunade. Yelled Ino as she pushed Neji aside as blood poured out of the back of Haruaki's en. Well, looks like Haruaki is out, said Kankuro as Sand Medical Ninjas ran up to join Ino. Pathetic, said Reiji as he picked up this sword and then pulled out a towel to clean the blood off the blade. Ino, please tell me what is going on, asked Neji with worry and fear in his voice as Ino's hand started to glow with chakra. The sword made a deep cut on the back of his en, cutting the nerves that send the messages from the brain to the body. If I don't get reattached within a minute, his entire body will shut down and he will said Ino as she placed her hand on the back of Haruki's en and Neji's eyes widened. Don't worry, I am one of the best medical ninjas in the world. Excuses me, miss, but we have to clear the field, said one of the Sand Medical Ninjas. If you move him now, he will before you get a chance to repair the damage. yelled Ino as she glared diggers at the sand ninja. Now give me 5 minutes to save this boy's life, the tournament can wait 5 minutes. I hope he makes it, said Kushina. As do I, but I am more worried about the Reiji kid, said Fugaku as Kushina and Liz looked at him and noticed that he had his black Sharingan was on. I saw the whole thing. Reiji was aiming for the K shot. However, at the last moment Haruaki moved his head to try to avoid the sword. Then why did he call Haruaki pathetic? Asked Liz. He wasn't talking about Haruaki, he was talking about himself and how he failed to K him, said Fugaku. He must be so evil if he wanted to K someone for no real reason, said Kushina. Or he just likes King, said Fugaku as his mother removed her hand. So Ino, what is the news? Asked Neji. I reattached all the nerves and his life isn't in danger, but we have to wait to see if there is any nerve or muscle damage, said Ino before looking up at the sand ninja. It's okay to take him now. With that the medics put Haruaki on a stretcher. Ino, will you watch my team? I am going with my son. Sure, said Ino as Neji walked with his son out the arena doors as the computer started to pick the names. When they stopped, Ino's eyes widened again. Crap, not again. Why does history seem to repeat itself so much? Asked Naruto. This should be interesting, thought Fugaku with a grin as he looked at his two teammates' stunned faces as they looked at the screen. Liz Uchiha Leaf Village vs Kushina Namikaze Leaf Village. X. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.